surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kyle Smith alongside Chris Randall. It's the battle of the Mid-Suburban League, the Wheeling Wildcats in the blue and yellow. They're on the road taking on the Elk Grove Grenadiers. Well, Chris, it's not the season that both teams wanted. Elk Grove with an 8-match losing streak, Wheeling not so great themselves, 5 games, but you try to erase that tonight and focus on the volleyball in hand. One team will have their winning streak started, and the other team, the losing streak, will continue.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it right. Elk Grove 7-15 on the year, while Wheeling is 10-15. Both teams coming off a loss, like you said. Last win for Elk Grove was September 9th, and the last win for Wheeling was September 19th. So long losing streaks out of hand. One of them's going to snap today.
The good news for Elk Grove, that game on September 9th was against Wheeling.
Yes, absolutely. It was a 2-1 win.
It's frustrating, too, because it's one of those interesting scenarios. For Elk Grove, they were 7-7. They were at 500. It looked like they were trending upwards, and then 8 matches in a row. And then for Wheeling, they were 10-10, and then 5-match losing streak. So both teams were on the precipice of success, and this losing streak is really hurting their chances of getting a good seed for the regional.
Yeah, that's very well said. Last time I was here, it was Elk Grove and Palatine. Elk Grove took the Palatine Pirates to the brink. Third set, they were in it all the way. Very good Palatine school, and it's just kind of fallen off from there, like you've said.
What's interesting, both of these teams are pretty evenly matched in terms of height. Elk Grove does have an inch in terms of an advantage over Wheeling. They have the freshman, Angelica Dylag, and you've seen her a couple times. She is really impressive for just a freshman.
Yeah, absolutely. She switches in and out with Julia Jakorzinska, who's a senior, and it is senior night here in Elk Grove. So Elk Grove Grens could get up for it, but yeah, you said it. Angelica Dylag, freshman, she's going to be a good start for this Grenadiers team.
And then 2 players for the Wildcats that are 5'10". Katie Moser, the outside hitter, and at middle hitter, Vanessa Sayar-Juajak. So you got both teams that have some size, and we'll see if Dylag with that 5'11", 1-inch advantage can do some damage near the middle and in front of the net.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also try and go outside towards the senior Lauren Brunn. Whenever they seem to need a point, they go towards her direction. She's usually on the far side where we're sitting, hitting across the court.
The liberos tonight, it'll be Emma Gomez, number 30 for Elk Grove, and for Wheeling, it'll be number 1, Selin Herdogan. Emma Gomez, she's a little girl, just 5'3", and there's definitely an advantage in height for Wheeling. Selin Herdogan is 5'6".
Yep.
Starting lineups brought to you by Elk Grove Television. For Wheeling, they're going to start Emmy Taba as well as Christine Stoimenova. Maya Hulsman will start as well. In the front row will be Layla Conklin as well as Lindsay Kane. For the Grenadiers, they're going to start Sammy Daly. In the back row, it'll be Lauren Brunn. Also in the front row will be Angelica Dylag. We talked to her about her life partner. She's kind of the difference maker to see if they can end this 8-match losing streak.
It seems to be it's going to be an Elk Grove start here.
Elk Grove with an interesting formation. They got 3 girls at least right now that are all next to each other, but I assume they'll start spreading out before the serve. Meanwhile, it's scattered, kind of like a U shape for the Wildcats. Also starting for Elk Grove tonight will be Olivia Eugene, the sophomore. It's senior night today in Elk Grove. They got a lot of them, partner. It's kind of surprising how much they've struggled with 9 seniors on this team.
Yeah, you said there's 9 of them, and there's going to be a lot of turnover for this Grenadiers team next year. But as long as they keep the freshman and the junior Sammy Daly, who's had a great year as well, they could have a decent season as long as some turnover from the sophomore squad comes up.
Yeah, and you always wonder about the travel teams, the 8th graders that are going to be coming in, feeding into Elk Grove. And here we go. It'll be the libero and Gomez to take it for the Grenadiers as we're about to start here on Elk Grove Television. Over the nets, played by the libero and Wheeling. Now over to the front row. It's played by Lawson. And it's a kill that time for Lawson. Well, served by Elk Grove and Lawson with a big-time kill. It'll be Katie Moser to take this serve. Moser with it. Overhand serve to the back row. Bump set, and then spiked down that time by Lawson. 2 kills already for Lawson, partner. What is she doing so well in front of the net?
Yeah, she's just taking advantage over the Elk Grove miscommunications. 2 girls went after the serve on that one, and then no one was home right in the middle for the dig.
Katie Moser will take it again. Almost touched the top of the ceiling, but it did not. No-look bump, and then back over to the Wheeling end. The spike that time by Hulsman on the Elk Grove end. Big-time kill, and it's delivered by Elk Grove's finest, Vanessa Witkowski. We'll get some rotations here for both teams. And on the serve for the Grenadiers will be Witkowski. Straight over the net. From the back row, sent it over to the front row. There's Lawson again, trying to get her 3rd kill. 2-1 advantage right now for Wheeling. Bumped it. Another spike. Instead, it's just tapped over. Blocked partially. Dig, couple of digs. That's the 4th hit, but it counts as a 3 because of the block. 3rd hit for Elk Grove. Big time kill. We're knotted up at 2, Chris.
Angelica Dilac with 2 great kills. The first one was dug up, but that one finds the back right corner. And that's the freshman skills right there.
Always nice when you have a player that's going to be on the varsity team for 4 years. And Dilag, she has height, Chris, but she also has athleticism.
Yeah.
Bumped over to the front as it was played by Tava.
And there she is with a block as well. It looked like Marisa Ayala was also part of that block.
So it was 2-0. Now 3-2, a 3-0 run for Elk Grove. Bump by Libero. It's not an ace, Chris, and Libero that time, and Herdogan, she's got to get better of getting lower to bump that straight up for her front
absolutely.
row.
She is only a junior, so could be first couple, well, not first couple matches, but a couple growing pains still with the junior.
Back to the front row for the Grenadiers. They get it over. It was off the bump of Moser. Now here's a set and a spike attempt. Block it a beauty. And a point awarded for the Grenadiers. On it was Gabar.
This is a great run by Vanessa Witkowski at serve for the Gruns.
Nobody wants to lose 9 in a row, and you can sense the frustration by Elk Grove, and they're taking it to the Wheeling Wildcats right now. Great decision that time by Wheeling's Katie Moser to say kill, 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 get away from it. As Libero and Herdogan will take a seat on the rotation.
Yeah, once again, there was 2 Elk Grove players going for the bump just to get the free ball over, but it was mishit.
Krishnan, played by Libero and Gomez, now to the front row. Spike, dug out by Krishnan. Goes out of bounds, trying to get it was Hulsman, but she couldn't. 6-3. Well, this is the right time to play Wheeling. They're reeling right now, a 5-match losing streak, and maybe some confidence brewing for Elk Grove. They know coming into this match, the last time they won was against these Wildcats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sent over to the front row. Hulsman on the spike. And it's going to be a point awarded for Wheeling as it was tried to be blocked by Dilag, but she couldn't get the proper block that she wanted. And it's a 6-4 lead now for the Grenadiers.
Yeah, looking on that Gren side, we talked a lot about Angelica Dilac, who's still in there, but she's used to switch off with Jack Korzinska, and she hasn't even checked into the ball game yet.
Partial spike off the libero of Herdogan. And it was off the hands of Hulsman on the spike over to the Elk Grove end. Gomez, no look bump, over to Herdogan to the front row. It was a block attempt that time by Gabar, but she couldn't get both hands on it, and it's a point for the Wheeling Wildcats.
Yeah, Hulsman with the spike for the Wheeling.
Back and forth we go. It almost looked like Elk Grove was going to take it to the Wildcats, but a good answer by Wheeling.
Yeah, there was one rotation that Wheeling or Palatine just killed Elk Grove on. I wonder if this is the rotation for Elk Grove right now.
Herdogan could not dig that out. Give credit where credit is due to the freshman, but Herdogan's struggling a little bit right now for the Wildcats.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not in the right place at the right time, and Dilac is just taking care of business on her end as she goes back to serve now.
See what adjustments the Wildcat coaching staff tells Herdogan. That's an ace right there. There was a lot of topspin action on that serve, so let's give credit where credit is due to Dilac. 8-5. She's definitely a difference maker on the court, just a freshman. And there's 2 sophomores on this team as well. Dug out by Herdogan. And a kill and a beauty that time for Maya Hulsman. And she rotates to the serve. 8-6. Wheeling led 2-0, and that's it. It's been all Elk Grove in terms of the lead since then. Hulsman gets it over the net. Dug out well, that time by Witkowski to the front of the net. Now back over to the Wheeling end. No-look bump by Moser. Gubar with the bump. Set over to the net as it was fed over to Brunn. Now to the front of the net, played by Moser. Onto the side of the Grenadiers. Was that in? No. Okay. It was a late call by the ref, so I was thinking that really weird dig by Hulsman was going to be a kill, but you want to push that downwards, not straight through. It's going to go out of bounds every time.
Yep. As you said, though, Elk Grove is really trying to pull away with this game early, but Wheeling is still hanging in. It's 3 right now, but it was as most as 4.
Be careful not to push on those sets. The refs are letting it go right now to the front row. Moser, beautiful block that time by the Grenadiers. The block was from Daly, but a point awarded for the Wheeling Wildcats, 9-7. But can they finish the comeback? They get a point here and there, but then Elk Grove answers.
Yep, Sanchez with the missed hit and just sent it right into the net.
Good things to come for Elk Grove in the future. They have 3 underclassmen already on this varsity roster. As Moser tried to spike it, she was in a bad spot though. She was on her back foot, tried to spike it on her back leg. It's going to be hard to do.
They actually gave the point to Wheeling there as one of the Elk Grove players went over the net. So Wheeling was awarded with the point.
A break for Wheeling. That's a big call because it went from 10-7 to 9-8.
Yep. And they get it back.
Did she touch the nets? She did. Elk Grove touched the net.
Twice in a row. 2 back-to-back points.
That time I agree with the ref. She clearly touched it.
Yep.
Sending it over to the front row. And an error that time by Daly. And just like that, Wheeling is back on top. That partner for this Elk Grove team, how do they make sure to not overthink it? I know you have an 8-match losing streak coming into tonight, but you can't just think, oh my gosh, here we go again.
Yeah, it's definitely tonight's bigger factor as well, playing for your seniors, knowing that this could be their last ever volleyball match on their home court. So definitely just thinking more of them and not yourself, and trying to get out there and get a W for them.
Timeout called by Elk Grove. We'll stick with the action, 11-9. Exciting volleyball, kind of what we expected. Both teams evenly matched.
Yep.
The last time Elk Grove won was against this Wheeling team, and you saw that early on, but sometimes we've seen some mistakes by the underclassmen as well by the Elk Grove Grenadiers.
Yeah, I will say, last time the Elk Grove won was against this Wheeling school, but during that as well, Wheeling did sweep Elk Grove 2-0 on their home court. So both teams have gotten a win in this series, you could say, for this year. So this is the rubber match right here in Elk Grove.
I'm liking the baseball innuendos there.
Well, out of this timeout, you just gotta say, forget those last 2 points, forget those 2 net taps, and just go with the flow. Try and win this point right here.
The Wildcats are led by head coach Jason Kopkowski. Of course, Coach Tara, who leads the Elk Grove Grenadiers. This is a special night for the coaching staff of the Grenadiers. one of the games you circle on the calendar, senior night, you don't want to lose on your home court.
Yeah.
From libero to libero, now to the front row. Beautiful block by Moser. She tries to dig it out. Back to the front row. Verdogen thought about going after it. Instead, it was bumped by Hulsman. Now to the front row. Both players went after it, and point awarded for the Grenadiers.
Yeah, great call there by the Grens. Yeah, it was a miss hit by the Wildcats, but they went to their star player, Lauren Brunn, who they go to every time they need a point. Happened a couple times this one, and now it's finally been awarded.
11-10 score, as it was served that time by Brunn. Now to Moser. Over the net, beautiful bump. From the libero to the front row. Set over the net, bump, another one. They'll have to do a third one because that's the third hit. Set, another set to the front row. Left-handed spike, but it's read well that time by Moser. Moser will spike this one. Thought about going after it that time by Brunn. Decided against it. And it's a point awarded for the Grens.
Yeah, a left-handed spike there. Annabelle Sanchez uses her dominant left hand. So we'll see. That's a very big advantage if they could keep that on the outside there to be able to go cross court.
Over the net it goes. It was spiked that time by Moser. She could not keep it in, though. Point awarded for the Grens. They haven't updated the score yet, but it should be 13-11. Moser over to Lawson. Good teamwork that time by the Wildcats. And it's 12-12. I must have miscounted. It is 12-12.
Yeah, that one was almost sent to the ceiling after it hit the bounce off the spike by Conklin.
So Milicheva takes a seat. Taba into the game. To the front row. Good pass. Huge block, though, by Conklin. And now over to Verdogen. To the front row. Trying to block it. Could not get the full block on it. And it's a point awarded for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Conklin's second straight kill for them.
It'll be Emmy Taba, the 5'6" setter, as she's on the serve. Gomez with it. To the front row. Switching hands at the last second. And maybe a mistake that time by Sanchez, as she just couldn't get a read on that pass.
Yeah. She thought it was a little bit farther out than what it was, and then just hit it on the way down into the net.
Third hit coming up as it's bumped by Gabar, and now over to the front row. Set over to the front row. Kill awarded for the Grenadiers as Layla Conklin got a late read on it. Point awarded for the Grens.
Yeah, I believe Gabar will get the kill with that one as she just floated it over.
To the front row now. Good block.
Dilag
by Daly. It's the D's, Dilag and Daly, creating havoc against the Wildcats.
Yeah, Elk Grove went through all their rotations, so they're back here with the serve with Gomez, and they're notched up, 14-14.
With a full head of steam, spiked by Moser, goes back over to the Grens end. And it's a point awarded for the Grens. It's exciting volleyball.
Yeah, it's been close. Great to see competitiveness. Probably something that both of these schools have lacked in these 13 games respectively.
Nobody wants to lose 9 in a row. Nobody wants to lose 6 in a row. You're seeing that added intensity tonight. Yeah. One team is going to have their losing streak ended, and both teams giving their hearts out right now on the floor. Moser. Back over the Grens. It was off the bump of Brunn. And then spiked over the net, but it went out of bounds. Point awarded, Wildcats. Katie Moser along with Sayer Gaijuk, both 5'10". Moser, an outside hitter, just a junior. Bumped over. Grenadiers on their third hit. There's Moser. She dives for it. Then off the hands of Taba. And out of play. Point awarded Grenz.
That great diving effort there by Katie Moser to just keep it up. Would have been tough to get a point or get it over the net, but at least the diving effort there, like you said, everyone's giving it their hearts out.
All out tonight, 100% effort. Might go 3 sets. Straight over the net. Bump to the front row. Good pass. Block attempt and a beauty. Gabor with a great play, and it's 18-15 now in favor of the Grants. It'll be a serve now for Witkowski. Might have been a double hit. It was. What is this front row of Daly, Dilag, and now Gabor doing so well that's creating so many problems for the Wildcats?
Yeah, they're just reading it, trying to find the play. They know anywhere that they go, they could get up and block anything. It's just getting to the right spot in the right time, and they've done that certainly well here in this first set. As the points here have come, you could say the difference 19-15 right now. Those difference points is the blocks coming by those two centers that you've said a lot.
Yeah, it seems like both teams are doing a very good job of avoiding the double hits and not pushing the ball with the sets. And this has been the precedent set by the ref. It looks like he's not going to call that tonight.
Yeah. It did happen just there, but that one was an extremely obvious one.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know much about volleyball, you're like, you can't do that one.
Yeah, this isn't soccer. You can't chest the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was a clear double hit. But sometimes you'll see it. That's what makes being a ref so difficult. You have to call it from the opening whistle.
Yep. Yeah.
And it has to be the same throughout the game. So if you miss stuff for the first couple of points, you have to stick with that consistency.
Yeah, exactly. I think for Elk Grove here, the message was just keep the pressure on. You're up by 4. Let's not lose this one. And while Wheeling, I'm sure it was, let's get this next point, and anything can happen once inside the 10-point mark.
And point awarded as the serve went out of bounds. Verdogen will take a seat. And now taking the serve will be Sandra Krishnan. Krishnan is a senior. Over the net it goes. Bumped. Krishnan over that time to Hulsman. Ref blows it dead and a point awarded for the Grens. Verdogen back into the match. Taking a seat will be Krishnan back in as well as Conklin. Nope, Conklin's taking a seat.
Yeah, that point was definitely given towards Emma Gomez. Diving effort just to save the initial serve. And they find a way to get a point.
Over to the front row. Beautiful block.
That one's Gubar and Daly.
Yeah, this is a three-headed monster right now, and Daly, Gabor, and Dilag creating havoc against the Wildcats. And the Wildcats are in a tough spot now.
Yeah.
Trailing by 5 with only 4 more points to work with. It's an error committed by Lawson, and she started off hot, partner, but she is ice cold.
Yeah.
These past couple of serves.
I think the, like you just said, the three-headed monster is really getting to the heads of these Wheeling players and knowing that they can't get a spike over the net right now because it's going to be tipped right back onto their side or tipped out of bounds possibly for Elk Grove. They're everywhere around the net.
What makes high school sports so great, every sport's single elimination.
Yep.
I'm not saying it would happen, but if Elk Grove went on a little bit of a run the last couple of games of the regular season, you go into the regionals, a team underestimates you. Elk Grove could win a couple of regional games. The same thing for Wheeling.
Yeah, that's very well said. You want to be playing the right ball, the good ball, towards the end of the year, and we're really heading towards that. I believe Elk Grove has 4 or 5 matches left on their schedule, and they keep going with this Dilac, Daly, and Gubar just block city. They could definitely scare some people into the playoffs.
Even though they've lost 8 in a row, half of these matches are 2-1 losses. They're not getting swept 2-0. Yeah. So the confidence can't be at an all-time low. If you were losing 8 in a row and you were getting swept, just being run off the floor every time, then yeah, that would get to you.
Yeah, no, that's very well said.
So they've been competitive in this 8-match losing streak. Good tap over by Moser, but Elk Grove with the answer. Back to the Grens. Set. 2 sets. Now a spike. And then reading it well, and on the bump was Moser. Moser on the spike, trying to get the kill, but back to the Grens. Front row. Setting it up that time to Brunn. And Brunn with the kill. 23-16, and not looking good for the Wildcats. Chris, you probably, if you're a Wildcat fan, you probably want this team and the Wildcats. Let's get a couple of points. Let's make it interesting. I don't think we're going to come back all the way down 23-16, but let's get some momentum going into set number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. You go back to, like you said, Noelle Lawson. Started off hot. She mishit one. Why lose the hot hand? She's the one that showed something early.
Kill awarded. Dilag. Set point. The timeout's working for the Grenadiers. Coach Tara knows her volleyball. Left-handed serve to the front row. Played now by Moser. And blocked out of bounds. It's a tall task, though, and that's an understatement when you're down 17-24.
Yeah. Other teams at set point. But like you said, you just want to try and get something rolling, go into set number 2 to get a win.
If you can get it to the 20s, the pressure starts to be on the Grens. Bump. And they'll just have to get it over the net, and they do. Now back over to the Wildcats. Tapped over by Moser. Now back to the Grens. Gomez with it to the front row. Brunn. Back over to Moser. Now to Hulsman. Hulsman with the kill. Hulsman with a huge kill, and that makes it 18-24.
Yeah, just split the arms of Brunn and Daly. As the block was there, just a little bit late there on Dilac's end.
Serve coming up for Lawson. Now to the front row. Good dig from Herdogan to the back row. A bump. And lack of communication for the Grens. Gomez and Sanchez, they weren't on the same page there, Chris.
No. That was we've seen a couple miscommunications from this Grens team. It's come back and bitten them once again. Now it's 24-19. And there it is.
Set point. Wildcats are arguing that she pushed the ball over the net. Possibly, but the ref hadn't called it all of that set.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes out to be a big victory. Get off right for this Elk Grove team. Senior night, 8-game losing streak like you mentioned, all on the front of this broadcast. But now what would you say to this team winning the first set?
I really think, especially the way both teams have been struggling, the team who wins the first set's probably going to win the match, especially since it's on Elk Grove's home turf. It's not a long drive from Wheeling to Elk Grove, but it starts to get into the mindset now of the Wildcats. Man, we've lost 5. We're on the road. We're losing again. We saw some good things, but we couldn't finish the comeback. My, oh my, deja vu all over again. And I think that's what's happening right now for the mindsets of these Wildcat players. And, I mean, that's what makes this match tonight so interesting. Very rarely do you have a match where both teams have these long losing streaks. Yeah,
that's very well. And the one difference that we've kind of pointed out here for this Elk Grove team is they're losing their matches 2-1. They're in the games for the most part, while Wheeling, on the other hand, for the most part, is getting swept. So in their minds, they're like, oh, we're already down 1-0. They tense up a little bit here and play not loose. And that's, as a coach, what you would want is have your players play loose, have fun, and don't worry about the result at the end of the day, because they are just kids. But you do want them to loosen up and not tense up.
And you brought up a good point, Chris. All 5 matches they got swept on this losing streak. That's got to get to you. What you have to be thinking is, look, we have a 5-match losing streak, but we are playing a team who's 7-15.
Yeah.
I do like the Bill Parcells mindset. You are what your record says you are. Some fans and some coaches don't exactly agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with it. Elk Grove has some players, but there's also a reason why they've lost 8 in a row, and Wheeling has to think about that going into the second set.
Yeah, no doubt. They're both teams are where they at. Elk Grove still looking for that first conference win, so as they inch closer to the finish line as well, they may also have that on their mindset as well and make a couple more mistakes also. So both teams had their ups and downs. Both teams have their struggles. Which ones are going to make the least mistakes?
So going into this match, Wheeling, they've won 23 sets. They've lost 32. But with this 5-match losing streak, they were actually ahead in that category, 23-22, and now they're 0 for 10.
Yeah.
Now
So,
make it 0 for 11 coming into the second set.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a coaching staff, that's tough to get your players to keep buying in. It's all part of the process. And, they're going to come around. It seems like a lot of juniors maybe losing 4 or 5 seniors, but not as much as this Elk Grove team, where if it was on the other side, Elk Grove is losing 9 seniors. So there's a lot of buy-in still left with this Wheeling team, where next year Elk Grove could have a completely different team.
Right, and for Wheeling, it's a young team, 5 sophomores. We talked about the young nature of Elk Grove with a freshman and 2 sophomores, but 5 sophomores, that's a lot for a varsity team.
Exactly, and you could say too, 10 and 15 with 5 sophomores. That could be turned around as a winning year, as all these players are going to have a year under their belt at the varsity level for next year, and they're only going to keep growing.
Serve coming up for Noel Lawson. Now over to Brunn to the front row. It was off the set of Gabor, and a point awarded for the Grens. 1-0. Gomez will take it. Gomez also a senior. They got to do some recruiting. Get the 8th graders that are multi-sport athletes. Hey, come out for volleyball in the fall.
Yeah, I coach as well, and I tell my girls there's no better competition or no better training than in-game training, no matter what the sport is.
Going to lose 9 seniors. See how Elk Grove does in the regionals. And it's off the fingertips that time of Daly. 2-1 lead now for the Grens. As Maya Hulsman, the junior, will take it. She bobbled it. Now she'll serve. Straight over the net. Gomez gets her hands ready for the bump and then sent over the net by Gabor to the front row. Over to Moser and now to the front row. Off the left hand, bumped by Hulsman. Now on the spike by Moser. Moser, kill. 2-2.
Yeah, right through the arms of Dilac. Hit it off her left one, just wasn't able to get enough of it.
See what adjustments head coach Jason Kopkowski along with assistants Jacob Del Toro and Rita Runyard told their players in the timeout. No look bump and now over on the side of the Wildcats. Hulsman with the spike. Hulsman awarded with the kill.
And that's where Elk Grove has struggled the most. It's a couple times this game and a lot during the Palatine game is defending that back row spike. It's gone for a couple points today and a lot of points last couple Tuesdays ago.
That time kill awarded for Stoimenova. Stoimenova, she's a senior. But yeah, you're right, partner. If you're going to lose, it's got to be on full-on kills right in the front of net. You cannot give up points off a bumper spike from the middle of the row.
Yeah.
Point awarded.
Yeah, that was just a solo middle versus middle. Angelica Dilac versus Christina Stoimenova, and Stoimenova won it.
Well, Wheeling got up to an early lead in the first set, but the Grenadiers came back. Meanwhile, Herdogan to the front row. Now to Moser. Partially blocked. Can't dig it out. The dig attempt by Gabor. Point awarded, and 2 more points happening in a row for Wheeling, and Coach Terry will have to call a timeout.
Yeah, and there it is.
I thought she would wait for 2 more points, but she calls an early timeout.
Yeah. Oh, something had definitely happened with this Grens team. They may have underestimated Wheeling a little bit, knowing they won the first set and they can just come out for the second set and the same thing will happen. But now you got to get on your players a little bit. Tell them, let's regroup here and let's win this next point and go on a run.
Yeah, you really don't want this to get to the third and deciding set if you're Elk Grove. Knowing that you've lost 8 in a row, even though you're at home, the doubt starts to creep into your mind a little bit. Oh my goodness, here we go again. Deja vu all over again.
Yeah, and this, of course, this is both schools, both teams are still here with the lower levels, but the Wheeling school is a little bit louder right now.
Well, you can't blame the fans when you're dealing with an 8-match losing streak. It is hard to get attendance to come to the game.
Without a doubt.
That's what makes the Cup game so interesting. Even when they were losing, they were still selling out.
Yep, no doubt.
Even when the Bulls were losing, they were still selling out. But most teams, when you're losing, the fans go away. 6-2. Over the net it goes. Good job by Gomez. The senior leadership showing there in a big way. Telling her players, get away from it. And that's a mistake by Hulsman. Don't give up points like that. Just get it over the net. Give your teammates a chance.
Yeah, now you have to face Witkowski, who's given him trouble serving all day so far.
Set over that time to Milchovcheva. And a point awarded for the Grenadiers. 6-4.
Yeah, here comes the run for the Gruns.
You're right, partner. It's been really tough for the Wildcats to answer Witkowski's serves. Moser to the front row. Back to Moser. Inbounds. Moser with a lot of athleticism on that play.
They're saying that hit the wire, so it's going to be awarded to the Gruns.
I did not hear a wire. Did you hear a wire?
I did not, no, but it was towards the direction, so we'll see. They said a Grenadiers point, but yeah, that was definitely a gutsy call there by the ref.
It was an awkward hit. This is what I think the ref was thinking. It was an awkward hit by Moser. The ball went to the right, but her body was all the way over to the left, so she had to go all the way over. The chances of that not hitting the pole are slim to none. So I kind of see why the ref called it that way. 6-6, meanwhile, on the Gren's end. Point awarded. And the Gren's got to be better than that, Chris. Void the net, stop touching the net.
Yep, yeah. That's the third time. Last time they kind of went downhill once a couple net touches were handled. Now to see how they react after this one.
Straight over the net on the bump. Now to the front row. Gets it over the net. Oh, big time dig that time by Hulsman. Then bump straight over. Onto the side of the Grens. To the front row. Spike. Dug out by Herdogan. To the front row on the spike. Gomez with the answer to the front row. Left-handed spike. Herdogan with the set. 2 sets. And a semi-spike. Still alive. 4 hits. That was fun, though.
Yeah, that was a great rally. Both teams leaving it all out. Dives from both teams on each side.
Selling Herdogan on the serve. Might have been an illegal dig. Meanwhile, we play on Herdogan to the front row. Got it over the net. Kill. Point awarded. Hulsman. She has been dominant in this second set. Herdogan again. 9-6 lead. Herdogan just 5-6. And the opposing libero and Gomez is 5-3. Straight over the net. And point awarded for Herdogan and the Wildcats.
Yeah, Elk Grove got to make an adjustment here. Down by 4. Wheeling just keep putting the pressure on them.
That was a beautiful set. Almost got the kill. Good job by Gomez. Now to the front row and then played by Hulsman. And a kill awarded for Dilag. They're not calling that, partner, so
no.
The front row players, you just got to be ready for it. Could you make the argument it's a double tap? Maybe, but they're not going to call that tonight.
Nope. As I say, Wheeling's been playing great so far out of the second half. The one missed cue went over the net right there, and they made the pay, but get it right back.
Great kill. And we'll see how Elk Grove answers. You got to get to the front of the net really quickly, because if you don't, Hulsman's going to dominate you with those spikes.
Yeah.
It's Emmy Taba. She gets it over the net. From the mid-row to the front row. Partially blocked over to Herdogan. Still at the front row. Now to Lawson. It was off the hands that time of Witkowski. Point awarded for the woman in blue. And Elk Grove starting to feel it right now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, here we go again. Bump to the front row. Tapped, goes off the net. Third hit, fourth hit. Break for Elk Grove.
Yep. And maybe that's the break that they needed to try and get back into this. They're only down by 4. Still a long way to go in this second set as well.
It'll be a serve for the Grens. They could really use an ace right here, but they won't get it. To the front row. Goes off the hand of Moser. And a kill for Moser. Well, exciting volleyball. Looks like this one's going to the third set. It would be a huge comeback for the Grens. They're already down 13-8. Mid-row to the front row. Off the net. Actually, it looked like it went off the pole, so it's going to be a point award. Oh, no, they say Grens point.
And they went to the player that always gives them the point when they need it, Lauren Brunn.
Point awarded for Elk Grove. I thought initially the ref awarded it to Wheeling. Point awarded. Wheeling, block went out of bounds.
They were there. The rotation was there on that one. Just the block was misdirected a little bit. Elk Grove's got to start laying these blocks if they want to come back.
Off the hands of Gomez and to Gabor over the net. Good job by Stoimanova off the bench. That's why winning the first set so crucial to winning matches. You have one more set to work with. Asking a lot of Wheeling to win 2 in a row. Good bump that time by Kirshner. Now over the net. Soft moving ball, but it was good enough. That time for Maya Hulsman. And the confidence, Chris, it's picking up right now for the Wildcats.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's getting 16-9 here. It's getting late for the Grens as they call timeout. But yeah, Wildcats are flying high right now.
It would be just such a momentum changer for the Wildcats to win this set, knowing that they had lost 11 sets in a row.
Yeah.
Just finally get over the hump, get that, winning that set, and then going into the third and deciding set for the victory. They're playing well. Elk Grove, they played really well in the first set, getting to the front row quickly on block attempts. This set, they're a half step late.
Yeah, that's very, absolutely. They were winning everything in that first set, every 50-50 ball, everything that you could be winning, they were, and now it's all gone Wheeling's way. That's the way of high school sports, though. One thing happens, and then it just is crazy the next.
Right, because most of the players are at the same athletic level until you get that one player that's going to USC on a full-ride volleyball scholarship. 16-9 lead for the Wildcats. Krishnan will take it. 5'7" senior. Not a good serve and a break for the Grens, and that's something that Wheeling's got to work on. That's the second time we've seen that tonight, getting overconfident, lazy serve.
Yeah, and both times were right after the timeout that Elk Grove called.
So maybe icing the server? Is that a thing in volleyball now? Over the net it goes. Off the bump of Herdogan to the front row. Good block. And an even better dig by Moser. Oh, look at that no-look bump by Hulsman. Herdogan to the front row. Back to Hulsman. Block. Point awarded. Grenadiers. Daly. As the ball goes my way and I kick it back. Tried to anyways. Where'd it go? How did that happen? I kicked it forward. That's why I wasn't a soccer player, among many other reasons. It'll be Brunn for the Grens on the serve. Almost got the ace. Last second dig by Moser out of the front row. That time, kill awarded, Daly.
Momentum is shifting here. You can say it's easy to see the tide turn. Everything's going Gren's way after this second timeout.
Something about these timeouts. For a couple of points and rally scores, the Grens look refurbished and ready to go.
A whole different team, you could say.
Point awarded, kill. But after that initial energy from the timeout, then they go back to some of the mistakes they've made all season long. Substitution. Not always, though, is the record what your record says you are. That goes over the net. I hate making the analogy to other sports, but remember that year where the Seattle Seahawks finished the regular season 7-9, and then they beat the 11-5 Saints in the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that Seahawks team was probably a little bit better than what their record said, and that 11-5 Saints team might not be as good as their record said they were.
You could have at one hand the unluckiest team somehow find a way into the playoffs, and the luckiest team end up losing.
Right.
What an effort there by Emma Gomez, just to try and keep that up.
She's running out of time in her high school career, and she's laying it all on the line tonight, but she did not get that dig. If you're Elk Grove, you'd like to get to the 15s before the Wildcats get to the 20s.
Yeah.
Over the net it goes. Now over to Herdogan. Good pass. It was delivered that time to Milacheva. Bump. Does it stay in?
And it does.
I like the decision, though, by Heelsman. Too close to call. Let's
Yeah.
see if it stays in bounds.
You had a 5-point buffer at the time. 1 point couldn't mean much in that scenario. Maybe we go back and look at it if somehow Grens come back and win this one, but I don't think it will matter too much at the end of this set.
Right. There's nothing you were gonna. If you went after the ball, that's a ace for the Grens. But if Heelsman had went after that ball, there's not much she could do with it. She would have had to dive for it.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a tough way to get the ball over the net anyways. I like the decision to not go after it. 18-15 to the front row. Now to Moser. Kill. Moser. But Elk Grove did what they had to. They got it to 15 before the Wildcats got it to 20.
Yeah, I would say, Wheeling is 6 points away from extending here. But Elk Grove has some momentum on their side right now. It's just, will they overtake and take all of it?
Try to get it to your playmakers. Somehow that bump went over the net. Was it a double tap?
And they are saying Wheeling point.
Touching the net again. 2015 trouble brewing right now for the Grens. Need to go on a little bit of a run here. Set. Over to the front row. Off the bump. Spike was a beautiful one that time by Wattis. And point awarded for the Grens.
Coaching staff for Wheeling thought that was a touch there, but that was all white tape.
It's been a very well refereed game. I can't think of any plays that were that controversial that we need to talk about it.
No. The one that you could say was the stick where the ball went off the stick, but he's right in front of it, so you could definitely see it better than where we are right now.
I'll take his point of view where he's at. That was beautiful. There's not much that the front row that Elk Grove can do. You expect the spike, and then you just tap it over the net.
Nice little floater. Gomez tried to get it on the back with a dive, just unable to pancake it.
It'll now be Emi Taba on the serve. Bumped over to the front row. Good pass and blocked. A blocking of beauty that time by Layla Conklin. 3 points away from going to the third and final set. Bumped over. Now from the mid row to the front row. Good pass that time by Hulsman. Now off the hand of Moser. And a point awarded and a kill awarded for Moser. Now over to Emmy Taba. On the serve, got it over the net. To the front row. Played that time by Rutkowski.
And we're at set point now.
Yep, this one's basically over. It would be the comeback of the year of the IHSA if Elk Grove scored 8 unanswered points. To the front row. Good job by Herdogan. Now to the front row still. It's played by Taba. Now to the back row to the front row. Still over that. Herdogan with a nice dig. To the back row. Now to the front row on the Elk Grove side. Spike attempt. Beautiful dig that time by Hulsman. To the front row. Off the hand of Lawson. Still alive. Beautiful play by Gomez. Hulsman answers with the bump. Set to the front row. Gets it over the net. Bump. 2 bumps. Now a spike coming up. Block. It was off the hands of Conklin. Still over the net. Hulsman plays it. Now to the front row. Point awarded for Elk Grove.
Yeah, before that point, I was going to say Elk Grove should be in kind of a similar mindset that Wheeling was let's get some momentum and let's bring it to the next match, next set.
Best rally score of the night. Dug out by Herdogan. Got it over the net, now to the front row. Good block. Kill. Layla Conklin, set, awarded, and won by the Wheelings. 25-17, the Wheeling Wildcats win that set. We're all knotted up at a set apiece. Can't ask for anything better if you're a volleyball fan. It goes to the third set.
Yeah.
And the way this match is going, it might be 25-23.
Yeah, it's been close. Each teams have been going at it the entire time. 25 points to someone loses their losing streak, and the other one continues. Obviously, everyone here is hoping that Elk Grove will snap theirs, but they definitely got to come out a little bit more energized and kind of finish that second set and start it with the third set.
What do you want to see from Elk Grove in this third and deciding set? You know they have an 8-match losing streak. You know that the potential of them winning the regional and winning the sectional is low. But you can't think about that right now. You just got to think about, let's end the losing streak and let's get the victory. What is Coach Tara and her assistants telling her players right now?
Yeah, I would say, if this was me, I would say, forget everything that just happened. Forget our record. Forget everything that happened before this game. We got 25 points to win this game right here. Everything should be thinking about 25 points right here, senior night on your home court. That's somewhat of the message that I would give, and I think that's what I feel like she's giving her players as well.
Do you like rally scoring, or do you want to go back to the old style volleyball when you had to be serving to get the point?
I think the rally scoring is fun, and it keeps the game moving. And you could say for the men's volleyball especially, it's just serve, spike, and then the other team serve, spike. This one, definitely women's volleyball is a little more energetic with more rallies going. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. There are times I'd like to go back to the old style of volleyball. That way you actually know how the points were scored.
Yeah.
It made it simpler for the stats guys and for the people in the stands. How did we score? Oh, yeah, you could only score from your serve.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's 25, okay, how many of those were rally scores? How many of those were off blocks? How many of those were off service errors?
Yeah, that's I definitely understand that for sure.
But it is cool, like when you have all these different stats, because you can still have service errors, obviously, when you go to the old style of volleyball. But, when I was a kid back in the 1800s, and we were learning about volleyball, we learned, at least when I was in 4th grade, we were learning about the old volleyball rules where you had to serve to win the point, and now obviously it's rally scoring now. I like both, but there are sometimes I'd like to go back to the old style of volleyball.
Yeah, I would say definitely here at the high school level, you only have to win 2 sets. Rally scoring could go either way. You'll definitely have some people say the older scoring. But college level, you have to win 3 sets, best of 5. I think that's what definitely works best with the rally scoring. don't have those 3.5 hour games.
And the issue is that they're not professionals. Obviously, they're high school athletes. There could be an issue where both teams are struggling to get the ball over the net. And so, remember, you have to score when it's your serve.
Yeah.
So you could have long games. I don't think it would always happen, but
no, there's definitely more of a potential.
But here we go. Third and deciding set. This is what we love in volleyball. In college, we want it to go to 5 sets. In high school, we want it to go to 3.
Yep. Competitiveness. I think both teams, that's what we wanted out of this game. Both teams to be competitive with losing records, and I feel like we've definitely gotten that and some more.
Get your popcorn ready. Third set coming up. Here we go. Herdogan to the front row off the hands of Lawson. And what did they call there, Chris?
I believe another net touch by the Grens.
Sometimes volleyball can be a simple sport.
Yeah.
If you avoid the small mistakes, you can win matches. When you keep making the mistakes, you're going to lose.
That's right there is going to be the deciding factor here is how much can the freshman Angelica Dilak put on her shoulders to get this team to victory.
I have not seen her substituted out at all tonight. They want her on the floor as much as possible. And here comes Witkowski, the junior. Got it over the net. Herdogan to the front row. Bad spike. It was off the hand of Stoimanova. And a break for the Grens. If she had just gotten that ball straight down, it probably would have been a kill.
Absolutely. A little bit of a late rotation by Elk Grove, but it's all right. They came up with the point in the early lead.
Good block. Off the bump of Herdogan. Couldn't save it that time by Hulsman. Point awarded for the Grens. And if you're the Grens, you'd like to get it to 10 before the Wildcats get it to 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Over the net. It's a play over to the right side. Then over to Milocheva on the backhand. Sent over the net. To the front row. Gomez, good bump. To the front row. Sent over the net. Right over to the freshman that time, and Angelica Dilag, and she doesn't look like a freshman partner.
No, absolutely not. She has just been dominating every time she gets a chance. It is either a huge block or a huge kill.
4-1 score. Straight over the net. Over to Herdogan. To the front row. Tapped over. Beautiful pass. Over to Milocheva. 4-2. And that's huge, partner. Between 4-2 and 5-1, that could change the complexion of this set.
Yeah, without question. And that's one thing Elk Grove hasn't been able to really defend too well today. Is one, those sets going over the nets are unstoppable, but they haven't been able to get the floaters down.
From the mid-row to the front row, and on her back foot, it was delivered that time by Sanchez. And that's something that Elk Grove has to work on. Try not to pass so close to the bench. It's hard for your front row to get a good footing on that spike.
Yeah, definitely want to have some spacing where you could go anywhere on the floor.
Kill awarded. Nobody was home to block it. Gabor with the kill. Oh, no, she touched the net.
Difference there of 5-3 to 4-4 now.
Refs aren't calling much, but they are calling touching the net. Huge break for the Wheeling Wildcats. Over to the front row. Off the pole. Point awarded for the Wildcats. This could be more than 25 points. Could be a 26-24 score. Bumped over to the front row. Spike. Back over to the front row and Moser. Now to Lawson. To Hulsman. Point awarded, Grenadiers.
Looked like that he's calling that Wheeling stepped over the halfway point onto Elk Grove territory to give them the point.
5-5 score. It was 4-1 in favor of the Grens. Left-handed spike. Bumped over to Hulsman, now to Moser. Verdogen with a nice dig. Late dig that time by Hulsman, and she accidentally got it over the net. Blocked. Now a spike attempt. Didn't get much on it. Lawson on the bump. Semi-spike that time by Moser. Now to the front row.
What a
play that time by Braun. What did you see on those passes from Elk Grove?
Yeah, much more efficient. Lauren Brunn made something out of nothing as the pass was meant to be going out towards the pole. She was able to adjust and find the open floor as there was 4 Wildcat defenders right in her way, just able to find the open floor.
Another serve coming up for the Grens. Got it over the net. And a bad pass from Moser.
Yeah, I think she was the only one that thought that was staying in. From our point of view, it looked like it was for sure going out.
7-5. Only time the ball's been going out is mostly on the serves. Over to the front row. Over the net, played by Gomez. Out of the front row again, tapped over. That time by Dylat. Got it over the net. Back on the Gren side. Spike partially blocked. Conklin couldn't get it. Point awarded, Grenadiers.
Lauren Brunn just has come up big here twice for the Grens, getting both points as well. So I think the Grenadiers have to keep feeding as Lauren Brunn, the senior. Let her eat on her night.
They got a lot of seniors to feed, though.
Yeah.
Over the net. And that's a tough spike, partner, when your body's going to the left and then you got to push it to the right. That's asking a lot out of your hips to do that.
Yeah. And trying to go across court as well.
That's a push. I don't call it, though. Are you surprised they didn't call that push on the Wheeling Wildcats?
That was a little wild there. Definitely, that one was more noticeable to the naked eye than the guys up on top. I think we weren't the only ones thinking that in the building here.
It's a big no call, too. Would have been 10-5 in favor of the Grens. But you know what? Bad calls happen. And what's interesting about being a ref is that's a point awarded for the Wildcats. 50% of the fans will always love you.
Yeah.
50% will always hate you.
Yeah, when I went to umpiring school in 7th grade, that was the main thing that they told us right there.
There's a lot of Royals fans who love Don Deckinger, and there's a lot of Cardinals fans who don't.
Yeah. Momentum has swung here from Elk Grove down towards Wheeling.
One call can do that. Look, the players still play. You gotta rise above it. Wow. 4 unanswered points. It looked like the Grens were going to walk away with a blowout in set number 3, but it's a good answer by the Wildcats.
Yeah, without doubt, it's all come here from the service of Emmy Taba.
Taba again. Switching hands in the back row by Witkowski. In the front row, blocked. Ball still loose. Now played by the Grenadiers. The mid row to the front row. Still in the front. Great play that time by Herdogan, and then bumped over by Hulsman. Played by Gabor, still in the front row. Over the net, and they just couldn't get it where they wanted it to go. Point awarded, Grenadiers.
Yeah, they went both times there on the attacks. Dilac was the one that they went to.
10-9. Fun volleyball tonight, and that's an understatement. Good serve. Verdogen on the dig. Trying to get over the net. Katie Moser says, my bad. How hard is it to spike that ball? You're going full speed, and you also got to keep it in play.
Yeah, and without touching the net as your body is moving towards the net.
Over to the front row from Taba. And straight into the net. Off the right hand of Lawson.
Great adjustment by the Grens to weather the storm, and now they're bringing their own storm here, getting back out on front.
So much energy was exerted by Wheeling to get it to 9-9. You wonder if they have enough in this third set. Front row, good pass over the net. Then played by Hulsman. Hulsman again on the spike. Hulsman too much. They want a review. Or they're also asking that Elk Grove touch the net. They got to be better, though, Parter. Too many times when they're spiking, they're getting too much on it. It's going out of play.
Yeah.
13-9. Good dig by Herdogan. It tapped over the net. Back to the Gren side. Gren's with it. Brunn to Herdogan. Front row. Another push. That might have been legal, though. It was more set than a push. But it was iffy.
Yeah, Tabo with the finish gets to shut the door on the Grens as of right now. But yeah, you said it very well that there's a lot of energy going out on both sides here. Who's going to have the most of it to get over?
Yeah, that's why you don't want to get into a habit in volleyball to always be trailing, because you have to exert so much energy just to tie the score. Good kill, and Tampa says, my bad. Even if she had the ideal set, that ball was coming. That was a lot of velocity on that ball.
Yeah, Lauren Brunn did not miss that one. She wanted to put that one to the ground and have it go back up to the ceiling.
14-10. 3 in the front row for the Grens. Now to the Wildcats. Conklin with a beautiful spike and a kill. Well, they know how to answer, Chris, but once the Wildcats tie the score, then it goes back to the Grens. The Grens then go on a run.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Grens here now, it's just let's get it to 15, and then it's first to 25 still, but first to 10 in that sense. You want to just try and stay ahead. You could trade points right now because you got a 3-point buffer.
To the front row. Will it stay in? It won't.
And Sammy Daly hit a home run with that one.
That's why you like to start from the back row and work your way to the front row on the spike. When you're flat-footed, it's hard to get that ball to go straight down on the spike. No-look pass by Gomez. And tapped over on the set. Another bump. And spiked over. Went the wrong way on it. It was off the hands of Sanchez. 14-13 now.
Yep.
Every time I hear the name Annabelle Sanchez, it makes me think of that no-hitter that the man with that name threw for the Marlins.
Yeah.
He had a good career with the Tigers as well. Bumped over the net. And Krishnan on that bump. Now Hulsman blocking a beauty. Oh my goodness, with a dig by Krishnan. How did she dig that one out? Now to the front row. And that time just could not be dug out by Tampa. What a play by Krishnan to just keep that alive by the Wildcats, but too many good spikes by the Grens.
Yeah, the pressure was coming. We got one up. The next one's coming right back at you. Watch out or dig it.
15-13. Fun volleyball tonight. Tampa got in the way of her teammate and
never made it over the net.
Yeah, Tampa's got to be communicating better with Lawson. It sure looked like that was Lawson's ball all the way.
Yeah, without a question. They're taking the point off the board. And I think they're saying replay.
I have not seen this in a volleyball match before. Have you, Chris?
Oh, at my school, yes, we have our batting cages above each side. So whenever a ball gets up there, they have to replay it. But this current situation, no.
Oh, my goodness, with a dig. That was close.
Yeah.
It did not hit the green line. What a break for the Wildcats. And Coach Tara might have to call timeout soon because that's almost demoralizing. You thought you had a 16-13 lead, then it has to be replayed. And now after that, it's a point for the Wildcats. Dig by Gomez, and she accidentally dig it over the net. That a Hulsman block.
Out of play.
Wow. All knotted up at 15.
I understand here putting in the senior Julia Jakorzinska, But they took out the freshman Dilag, and they could be hurting around the middle of the net. First opportunity was a point.
Yeah, the other thing is, too, though, Chris, how tired is number 11?
Yeah.
Sometimes a backup at 100% is better than somebody who's just dead tired.
Yeah.
Over to the Wildcats' end. Did not
Point
go
out
straight
throw.
over. Yeah, went to the right of the pole. It's kind of like that soccer conundrum, too.
Yeah.
Like, when do you take out your starter because there's so much cardio in soccer?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Dilag had not been, and she's back into the match, by the way.
Yep.
How much energy does she have left as she's played pretty much this entire match?
And they go right to her. They never made it over, though. We're knotted up at 16 here. It's a race to 9 points now. That's what you have to have the mindset.
Got to win by 2.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that as well.
Never seen that in a volleyball match where you got to reset. Interesting. Mistake. Error committed by Daly. So just have to shake it off.
Grens are going to have to find a way to just reset themselves. Ever since the reset that happened in the game where they had to replay the point, it's been all Wheeling.
Good dig that time by Lawson. Verdogen partially blocked by the Grens. Now back to the Wildcats. Bumped over. 1 hit. Now 2. Make it 3. Can't dig it out. Lawson couldn't get the dig. Point awarded Grens.
The freshman may be the answer to reset the Grens.
It should be the answer on a lot of teams.
Yeah, without a doubt. She's been by far the best player on the court for both teams.
Verdogen to the front row. Both liberos playing excellent tonight. Point awarded, Grenadiers. After a slow start by Verdogen, she's been excellent. Gomez, maybe 1 or 2 times she's made a mistake.
Yeah.
Did that hit green? It did not.
That is what you can't have. You got a little bit of a rally going. Points are all going towards your side. You can't just hit it out on a serve.
She thought she might get the ace, but that's just not a point in the game you want to try that. 18-18 meanwhile, and almost didn't get it over the net. Oh, tricky. Very tricky on that kill.
That was a great play by Layla Conklin. Everyone was going towards her right as she was moving towards the left. And she was able just to find some space on the floor.
Back and forth we go. It's a teeter-totter battle tonight. Set over to the front row. Oh, what a dig that time by Hulsman. Still in play. Verdogen to the front row off Lawson. Gomez with a nice dig. Then bumped over. Verdogen to the front row from Lawson to Moser. Partially blocked. Ball still live. And they get it over. Is it in play? No.
Not. Fantastic rally there.
What a killer for the Elk Grove fan base. And that's definitely the right time to call a timeout.
Yeah.
You could see just how tired her players look. Coach Tara calling timeout, and boy, oh boy, this one stinks to lose for either team, but especially for Elk Grove.
Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. Still quite a bit of time left in this game. Elk Grove certainly is not out of it. They got to find something quick here right off the timeout. Coach Tara's timeouts have been good. They've gotten points right after. Definitely in need of it now.
So obviously, both teams know that the best player on the court right now is Dilag. So for Elk Grove, how do they get it to Dilag without having to force feed it? And for Wheeling, how do you answer on the blocks?
Yeah, definitely for Elk Grove's side, just draw up the plays that have worked this entire match and hope that Wheeling can't come up with the stop on the spot for her. And for Wheeling, it's just keep the pressure up, try and not let that come down to the freshman. Yeah, you could say she's a freshman in experience, but like we've said before, she does not look like a freshman player.
She's going to be fun to watch 3 years from now when she's a senior. Over the net, Herdogan, the middle of the row. And now to the front row. And a kill awarded for the Elk Grove Grenadier.
And there it was, went to the freshman Dilag. And as well, another point after a timeout that Elk Grove has won. They've done a fantastic job of that tonight.
Mid row, now to the front row. Lawson to Moser. Kill! Moser! Big answer for the Wildcats. And taking a seat will be Marlena Milocheva. Emi Taba on the serve. Time running out for the Grens. Taba. Mid-row of the Grens over the net. No double hit as it was blocked initially by Moser. Over the net. Switching hands is Gomez. To the front row. Getting over the net. Dug well by Hulsman. To the front row. Chance still alive.
Right at the net.
Erdogan says, get out of the way, I got this. Taba gets it over the net. Now to the Grenadier side. Oh, what a kill for the Grens.
Keeps them in the game.
You know, you don't think volleyball is a cardio-intensive sport, but you're dead wrong.
Oh, with 100%.
Because when Herdogan has to go out of the play like that, she's got to run back to the middle because when she's out of play, it kind of, all the rest of her teammates are out of sorts as well. Another service there and a killer for the Grens.
Yeah, this is just when you got to just stop trying to get an ace and keep the ball in play and let them make the mistakes. The difference right now is the two service errors. 2020 it could have been.
Got it over the net. Great dig that time by Moser to the front row. Hulsman out of bounds. Well, one team, the Grens with the service errors, and for Wheeling, way too many errors on the kill attempts.
Yeah, they're definitely hitting over the back line way too much. And Elk Grove's as well as just touching the net. They've done a lot of that as freshman goes and takes a break.
Now the silly mistakes is why both teams probably have losing streaks right now.
Yeah. And we're 4 points away from one of those being broken.
Over the net. Bump. Set. Spike coming up. Got it over the net, did Lawson. Bump. Another set. Spiked. Beautiful dig that time by Tava over the net. Point awarded. Wheeling. And Herdogan will take a brief seat.
2 points away is Wheeling.
Bumped by Gomez. Gabor with it. Over the net, partially blocked. Christian answers. Taba over to Lawson. Partially blocked. Dug out well by the Grens. Gomez with it now. Brun from one side of the court to the other and then bumped over by Taba to the front row. Got it over the net, partially blocked. Point awarded Grens. Oh my goodness, what a game tonight.
Yeah, this has been definitely a barn burner here in Elk Grove.
Conklin back in. Christian will take a seat. Herdogan into the match as well. This is big for the Grens. You really need to tie this up at 23. Straight over the net to the front row. Hulsman tapped over. Big kill. Ball still alive. And the Grens still alive as it's now on the side of the Wildcats.
Welcome back to this episode of In the Grove. I'm Jeff Frankie. Today we have Elk Grove High School's new football coach, Danny O'Donnell. Welcome, Danny.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Great. It's great to have you. You've been around Elk Grove probably your entire life. Why don't you explain how you started in football as you were young?
Yeah, I was introduced to football through the Youth Football Flag Football League. That was for third and fourth graders before tackles started. So I got introduced, fell in love with the game from there. Was very fortunate to be meet a lot of great friends and be coached by a lot of great coaches and people that became lifelong, kind of partners. Now that I'm taking over the program, there's still people heavily involved, like Jeff Smith, who's still, just stepped down as the president, but still has a good connection. So in kind of building that bridge between the two programs, I was very fortunate to play all the way through 8th grade and then, carried that experience on until high school and just found a love for the game. And just, I love how the game gives so much back to life too. There's so
Seniors to finish this one off. What a fun one in Elk Grove. Look, if Wheeling loses this match, they have nothing to be ashamed of. Play their heart out tonight.
Absolutely not. And as you said, every single player on Elk Grove is a senior right there. What a way to finish home turf.
Over the net, mid-row to the front row, got it over. Bumped by Gabor to the front row. Left hand, beautiful play that time by Moser. Still alive, Herdogan, and then bumped over that time by Moser to the front row. Oh, what a great dig that time by Taba. Partially blocked. Gomez.
Into the net. Sanchez with the miss hit. Extra volleyball.
Yeah, she's not great on her left hand. Good scouting report by Kupkowski. They forced her in a spot where they had to pass it to Sanchez.
Yep.
And that was the third time tonight Sanchez has committed the service error. Attacking error, I should say.
Yeah.
24 all. Here we go.
And it goes out of play.
Sometimes you overthink yourself. Lawson thought she could get the ace.
Yeah.
Not a time to do that.
Absolutely not. Now comes in the Dilag special freshman in.
To the front row. No look pass.
Kept alive.
This could go to the 30s. Maya Hulsman will take the serve. Everybody from the Wheeling fan section on their feet. Dig, attack, kill.
Fine. What a play by Dilag. That's it. You just got to draw up the play, get her open in space. In comes Witkowski. Wheeling's had some trouble with their serves today. Let's see how they end it.
Do not try to get the ace, just get it over the net. Big time dig, and accidentally went over the net. Back and forth we go. What a fun volleyball match here in Elk Grove. Ball still alive. Lawson over to Herdogan. Moser. Oh, beautiful job by Brunn. And a kill awarded for Moser. 26 all. Stoimanova will take a seat. I mean, does either team have anything left? They got to be dead tired.
Yeah.
Front row. Oh, man. They say double hit. I don't think so. I think it was partially blocked the first time.
Yeah, I agree. Dilak with another kill.
Not much that Wheeling could do that time. It was a line drive spike. Tried to dig it out. Then it became a ping pong battle at that point with the digs.
Jeremy Carlson, he's back. Van Sky, who's been here for a long time, working security. So he's got a pulse on the kids in terms of making sure they're doing
Hello, residents of Elk Grove Village. I'm Scott Marinick, and this is your Elk Grove Update. An overdose victim's life was saved by his brother who administered Narcan, which he obtained from a dispensing machine that was recently installed in the police department lobby at Village Hall. Narcan is a nasal spray medication that reverses the effects of an opioid overdose. Given the victim's history with substance abuse, the brother told paramedics that he wanted to have Narcan readily available in his Elk Grove residence. Narcan kits are free and placed in a vending lake machine that is accessible to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So far, 50 Narcan kits have been taken. The dispenser will be maintained and restocked on a regular basis by the Kenneth Young Center. Join Elk Grove Village Cares and the Kenneth Young Center for Remember, Recover, Discover, a free community awareness event to reduce stigma, increase knowledge, and provide recovery support for substance misuse and addictive behaviors. The event will take place on Saturday, September 23rd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Kenneth Young Center located at 1001 Rowling Road in Elk Grove Village. Now that school is back in session, the police department would like to remind all motorists to take extra care when driving. Please slow down in school zones. Watch out for kids walking in the street or riding their bikes. Be vigilant around school buses and remember to stop when the red lights are flashing and the signal arm is extended. The Public Works large branch collection is back. Branches 3.5 to 8 inches in diameter from all trees and bushes, except evergreens, are eligible for pickup. Branches must be stacked in the parkway with cut ends pointing towards the curb and should not be bundled with twine. Branches will be picked up September 18th through September 22nd for residents living east of Illinois Route 53. Residents living west of Illinois Route 53 will have collection dates of September 25th through September 29th. You must contact Public Works at 847-734-8800 to add your address to the pickup schedule. Branches should be placed in the parkway no sooner than the weekend before your designated pickup week. For more information, please visit the village website at elkgrove.org. We recently installed a new playback system here at EGTV. This will enhance the playback of our video and audio, create a new bulletin board and program guide, and improve our streaming capabilities. We thank you for your patience as we make EGTV better for you. That's all for this episode of Elk Grove Update. Thank you for watching and keep being exceptional.
In these uncertain times, America needs a man whose very presence will instill confidence and commitment into this precious land. A brave man who will bring innovation and clarity to the American landscape. That man is... Hello! Ralph the Robot. Fridays at 9, only on Channel 6.
And here comes Kiskowski in the first.
Elk Grove Village is located just outside Chicago, and their community is beyond business friendly. From manufacturing to state-of-the-art data centers, Elk Grove Village has the infrastructure and the people to help your business thrive. As a manufacturer and a business owner, I know that driving a race car is a lot like owning a business. You're only as good as your team. Elk Grove Village is a great team. Visit makerswanted.org to learn how they can help your business win.
Fox Run Golf Links, a year-round facility featuring great food and fun. Our newly remodeled clubhouse features 22 large-screen TVs, plus daily food and drink specials. Bring your friends and play around on one of our full-swing golf simulators featuring over 85 courses. With all this, Fox Run is also the perfect place to host your next meeting or special event. Visit us today at foxrungolflinks.com for more information on indoor leagues and special events.
What I like to say, if you have a dull day, you're doing something wrong in manufacturing.
I thought it was really interesting to find out how a lot of machinery is made and the process so that there's a lot of specialists for each area.
You know, if you're good with your hands and you're interested, you watch the Discovery Channel and you watch that, you know, how it's made. You know, that's what manufacturing is all about.
Well, it really has changed a lot. I think it's pretty impressive. It's a lot cleaner than I would have expected since my dad did this for his third job.
There came a day that, for example, you know, all the manufacturers will stop building. You know, we wouldn't have anything. You know, so the manufacturing definitely will continue and will get stronger because there still will be a constant demand for new products, new technology, revising existing products, so it will be strong.
One common misconception about manufacturing that I've heard is that, you know, factories can be loud, dirty places with, you know, where it's just a matter of putting pieces together to put a product out. But my experience has been totally different. You know, I found that I've been able to use my engineering background to work with research and development departments to bring new technologies to the marketplace using computer skills and trending and a lot of the other high-tech tools available to us nowadays. And I can also say that, you know, as a manufacturing manager, I'm highly concerned with maintaining a safe, clean, orderly workplace.
I'd say this is a really good thing that they have going with us coming and visiting and seeing this, because I've just found out I'm actually really interested in manufacturing, and I never really thought I would be too involved with that because I think factories, but just seeing this firsthand has really changed my mind on a lot of it.
I thought it was a lot more done by just machines, and like there wasn't really anyone involved with it, and if there were, it wasn't much of a job. But it seems like there are a lot of careers being made here, and people are still involved, and the programs have impressed me a lot.
I love manufacturing because it has endless possibilities. Just go for it. It's really exciting field because no matter which classes you take in college or so, you can always get those and apply to our manufacturing positions that are available.
Village would like to remind residents that it is the responsibility of every homeowner, their agent or occupant, where food is prepared, served, or produced, to maintain in good order and repair suitable containers for use as garbage receptacles. Suitable containers for single-family and single-family attached dwellings should be made of metal or plastic with a capacity not to exceed 30 gallons, designed specifically for garbage disposal. The container should have a close-fitting top or be capable of being tightly closed. Suitable containers for multi-family dwellings should be metal or plastic and have a capacity greater than 30 gallons with a close-fitting top, which should be closed when garbage is present.
Up, down, up. Community Respite Program of Elk Grove was actually started by the Interfaith Council of Elk Grove, and it's held over at Christus Victor Church, which is on Arlington Heights Road at 1045 South Arlington Heights Road. It's a chance for caregivers to bring their loved ones to this program, and we have activities planned to keep them involved with other members of the group.
Hi, I'm Barb Walker, and I'm the assistant coordinator here at the Respite Program at Christus Victor. And as Marge says, if you have a loved one that you would like to bring to us, we would love to have them come here and to give you a day out. We have a friendly group here. We do a lot of activities here, and it's just a great place to be.
Hello, my name is Pastor Stefan Potushnik. I'm pastor here at Christus Victor Lutheran Church in Elk Grove Village, and I'm excited to share with all viewers that we started 2 years ago our respite care ministry. We started it because we want to reach out into the community and invite people to come here during the week and spend time together, and the caregiver will have time, have respite, and have time to do things they would like to do. 2 years ago, as I mentioned, we started and we received a grant, a seed grant from Thrivent Financial for Lutherans, and now we received a second grant from Wheatridge Foundation in Itasca, and so we are able to provide this outreach ministry for very, very low cost, and we are excited that the ministry is growing and more people are coming, and everyone is welcome.
We are thinking of expanding to 2 days a week. We're not sure which 2 days yet. Please come and give us a try.
Hi, I'm Donna McGuire, and I'm a volunteer with the Community Care Respite Program. I learned about the program through our church bulletin, Queen of the Rosary's bulletin. They were looking for members to attend the program, and I thought it was for volunteers, so I went ahead and called, and I've been happily volunteering with the group since October of last year. My favorite activities are some of the things I never knew how to do. I learned to play dominoes. I learned to do different activities with the group, and so it's been a really fun time for me meeting my fellow members of the group. We share lots of stories. I've learned a lot about their lives, which has been a great on-the-job training for real American history from all of my friends here at the Community Care Program.
But I would encourage anyone just to come on over, help out. This is going to 2 days a week, so they could certainly use
volunteers. I encourage anybody who'd like to attend, either as a member to join us or as a volunteer. It's a great way to meet other people, and we have lots of fun, lots of fun. So come join us.
Some chores you dread. You do them, but that doesn't mean you're happy about it. Then there's registering with the Selective Service. If you're a young man turning 18, the law says you have to register. It'll keep you eligible for college loans, government jobs, and training, and it only takes 2 minutes, which makes it not only your most important chore, but the easiest. When you turn 18, register at sss.gov or the local post office.
And now, another fact of Congress.
Everyone knows that Congress makes laws. But just how does a bill, no, not that kind of a bill, but how does this kind of a bill, an idea for a law, become a law? First, a member of the House or Senate comes up with an idea and introduces it as a bill. Then it's carefully reviewed by the appropriate committee in Congress. If the committee approves the bill, it then needs to be passed by both the House and Senate. If they do, it goes to the president for his signature. Only then is a bill officially a law. But it's a difficult process, with less than 10% of bills introduced ever becoming law. It's not a process designed to move quickly. There are various obstacles along the way to ensure that bad ideas don't make it through.
This fact of Congress is adjourned.
Our mateys! Discover a buried treasure filled with summertime fun at Pirates Cove Children's Theme Park in Elk Grove Village. There's plenty of adventure for wee ones aged 2 to 9 to explore. So sail over to Pirates Cove Children's Theme Park between June and August and take me word, you'll be hooked. Yo ho ho!
Davey knows a thing or two about getting results. So do we. Elk Grove Village can help your business get big.
Problems. The ones nobody talks about at cocktail parties. We go looking for them. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds, we surround a community's most critical problems, and we fight. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
Elk Grove Village is home to the largest industrial park in the United States. It's a community of makers, companies that invent, design, manufacture. When your neighbors are makers, the supply chain gets shorter and profits grow. It's why businesses thrive here. Elk Grove Village. Makers want it.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Drones far away from the front lines in Ukraine increasingly striking Crimea and even Moscow. Is the Russian position becoming more vulnerable? Are Russians getting tired?
The main question which is existing in the Russian society today is why so long? Why so long? Where is the great Russian army, which was described many times as one of the best in the world?
Andrei Fyodorov is a former deputy foreign minister of Russia. He's my guest this week on Conflict Zone, joining us from Moscow. How much should the West be concerned about Putin cozying up with North Korea? Is Putin out of options?
Of course, there is a danger. There is a danger of the nuclear war on Korean Peninsula.
And with more evidence of Russian atrocities in Ukraine, who will be held accountable? Andrei Fyodorov, welcome to Conflict Zone.
Thank you.
Investigations by the UN have been documenting further evidence of Russian war crimes in Ukraine, including willful killings, attacks on civilians, unlawful confinement, torture, rape, forced transfers, and deportations of children. When you were on this program last year, you were asked if you were personally ashamed of what Russian soldiers are doing to civilians in Ukraine. You said that you didn't have a real picture of what was going on. With the picture of brutality now becoming even clearer, are you ashamed?
It's war. It's war. It's a serious war. And of course, there are some cases which can be considered as a real brutality. But it's war. Unfortunately, this war lasts too long. Now it's 572 days. And the problem is that this war is becoming more and more brutal. And what is more important, there is clear understanding on the both sides that it will last rather long. And that's why it creates additional problems. I mean, the problems that Russia...
But Mr. Fyodorov, what about the Ukrainian children taken to Russia, for example? I mean, Kyiv says it has identified almost 20,000. Russia has refused to provide information about the children or even work with a neutral intermediary such as the Red Cross to register and repatriate them. Are those children lost forever?
No, they're not lost. There is a request for Ukrainian side to identify the children which should be returned to their parents, etc., etc. But of course, it's still the question which needs most probably outside assistance, because the direct contacts between Russia and Ukraine are now on the zero level, and we are facing a lot of problems with this. And of course, this question is important for Russia because of the decision of the International Criminal Court, and we would like to clarify these things.
But Russia has,
as far as I know,
Russia has been blocking that outside assistance, Mr. Fyodorov. And in fact, as it's doing so, it is also targeting or appearing to target civilians in Ukraine, schools, markets, residences. The United Nations saying that those attacks have been indiscriminate and disproportionate. And in fact, after an official visit to Ukraine this month, the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture said that Russia's armed aggression is becoming synonymous with torture and other inhumane cruelty, saying, quote, "These grievous acts appear neither random nor incidental, but rather orchestrated as part of a state policy to intimidate, instill fear, punish, and extract information and confessions." Who should be held accountable for these grievous acts?
Oh, this is a very hard question, because what is a problem today? The problem today is that Russian army is in defense position. Russian army cannot start its own offensive operation. And that's why the key point is to increase strikes on Ukraine with missiles, with drones, etc. And of course, such kind of strikes will damage both civilian and transport infrastructure, various things, and will cause additional casualties, especially I think it will be visible in the coming couple of months because the war is now turning more into a position war, and missile strikes will be the main element of the war.
But we're talking here about accountability for what the UN describes as apparent disregard for civilian harm and suffering. What about accountability right at the top? What about Putin? There's an ICC investigation, an arrest warrant for war crimes already issued, including for both Putin and Russia's children's commissioner, accusing them of personal responsibility for the abductions of children from Ukraine. Does anyone care?
In Russia, frankly speaking, no one cares too much. and Russia is ignoring the warrant by International Criminal Court. And though, of course, Putin didn't went to South Africa to bring summit because of this warrant, and now there is a big quarrel about this warrant with Armenia, which will ratify Rome Statute. But inside Russia, there is no such kind of feeling that Russia is guilty.
I'd like to come back to accountability, but first, let's talk a little bit more about Ukraine's counter-offensive. The latest attacks in Russian-occupied Crimea in the port of Sevastopol appears to be the largest on the Russian Black Sea Fleet base and the first known strike on a Russian submarine in the conflict. Ukraine is trying to cut off Russian troops from supply lines. Russian troops are becoming more vulnerable here, aren't they?
The question is very simple. What's going on there? I can tell you that the biggest problem for Russia today is that Russia is in defense. And this influences on many political decisions here as well as military decisions. For us, the problem is that Ukraine is receiving new effective weapons. And personally, I'm more than sure that somewhere in November, German Taurus missiles will come to Ukraine. I see no problems for this. This is, from my personal view, on the way. And of course, this is making Kremlin much more nervous because the strikes are touching not only Crimea, but they're touching different parts of Russia, including Moscow. Drones attacks on Moscow nearly every day. On Moscow region nearly every day. So this is changing the nature. And the problem is that Russia can answer such kind of challenge not by offensive operation on the ground, but only with a heavy missile attack.
You have some pro-Telegram channels raising concerns over the Ukrainian counter-offensive, describing a difficult situation at the front. Successful attacks in Crimea, they're a blow to Russia. In the past days, Ukraine also saying that it has retaken villages around Bakhmut. How are these moves viewed inside Russia? Does the general public hear of them at all?
No, general public here, but of course, official propaganda is very effective here, saying that everything is okay, there is no damage for Russia, etc., etc. Reality is that the main question which is existing in the Russian society today is why so long? Why so long? Where is the great Russian army, which was described many times as one of the best in the world? And of course, officially, of course, there is a position that Ukrainian offensive is a big failure. But I know also a point of view from my Ukrainian colleagues who are saying, no, yes, we didn't reach too much, but we stopped Russian army moving forward.
So,
Army Russia lost initiative. So for Ukraine, it's the best is to understand how to act next year.
If Russians are asking why so long, you know, what do they also think when they're hearing and seeing more drone strikes inside Russia itself, including in Moscow, where there are reports of drones frequently causing flight delays and even damage? That must be unsettling to civilians, isn't it?
Of course, it makes Russian civilians much more nervous. First of all, because of the drone attacks, including attacks on Moscow and Moscow region. There is nearly every day delays of the flights in the morning from all the Moscow airports. And of course, it creates a problem. It creates a question. It creates also questions concerning our air defense, our anti-missile defense. And many people are asking about how we should think about possibility to be secured in the future. Also, one of the top questions, which is still unanswered, is a number of the losses of Russian army in the region, in the conflict, and the Ministry of Defense is keeping it as a biggest secret.
But when we look at the general philosophy, I mean, President Volodymyr Zelensky has described the strikes as just and fair and a way to bring the war home to Russia. Does he have a point? Putin invaded his country in a war of choice.
It's his strategy. It's his strategy, and of course, for Russian citizens, strikes, for example, against Moscow is in some case much more important than situation on the front line. Yes, this is a question. This is a question, and the problem is that Russia officially is not considering this situation as a war against Ukraine. Formally, it's called special military operation. And this is a kind of funny story, because special military operation, in which we are using even hypersonic missiles, looks much more as a real war. And from this point of view, some of the arguments on the Russian TV, on the Russian mass media, that it's not the war, it's Ukraine which is in war with Russia, but not Russia is in war. Officially, Russia is not in war with Ukraine.
Let's talk a little bit more about the stifling of free speech and dissent, because Amnesty has reported some 20,000 people in Russia have been the target of repressive laws to suppress the country's anti-war movement. A sign of desperation from the Kremlin, concern about dissent, especially with elections approaching next year? I mean, because if they can't build support for the war, crush dissent? Is that what this is?
You are right that there were a lot of legislative acts have been adopted during last year. And for example, on foreign agents, it was adopted even before the war started. Of course, there are a lot of cases when people are not allowed to express their opinion against military activities. And this is very strict control over the mass media on this issue.
But it's deeper than that, isn't it? Because, I mean, the United Nations, in a recent report just released this week, described a systemic crackdown on civil society. There are these reports of a so-called reawakening of totalitarian instincts in Russian society, with people informing on each other, like in the Stalin era. The opposition, of course, is silenced, jailed, or in exile. What kind of Russian society do you think emerges from this war?
First of all, I would like to say that political opposition to Putin is simply totally destroyed. There is no political opposition to Putin anymore. And I don't think that there will be. It's not possible in this current situation. Concerning the coming presidential elections, which might take place in March next year, I see no problems for Putin. I see no problems. The problem is only turnover, because as far as I know, quite many people are saying that in this situation, they simply don't want to go and vote. So they will not say that they're against Putin or against war, but they will just try to express their point of view by non-voting. But as I said, I see absolutely no problems for Putin to be re-elected spring next year. Absolutely no problems.
Let's talk a little bit more about opposition, and I'd like to turn to Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin, who was able to march a column of tanks within miles of Moscow, kill about a dozen Russian airmen, call Russia's stated reasons for invading Ukraine false. He has this sort of cultish following, and it's thought support from both the public and inside the military. And then his plane falls out of the sky. Do you think that was an accident?
Personally, I think that it was not an accident. I knew this man for many years. But I would like to stress that what has happened is very interesting. During his 3 days of appearance, he never said that he wants to change president. What was his call, and I spoke later on with my friends from Wagner, is to change military strategy in Ukraine. To understand, he wanted our military command to understand that it's a new, modern type of war. The war which is totally different from the images of Second World War. And that's why he was accusing, first of all, military command, Minister of Defense, head of the General Staff, as non-capable to understand the realities of the modern war. And of course, he has some serious personal conflicts with a number of the people in Russian elite. Personally, I don't think it was accident, because even the fact that it has happened just 2 months strictly 2 months after his first statement. So it is.
Does the Kremlin expect people, you think, to believe that it was just a coincidence that months after staging that uprising, he dropped out, his plane dropped out of the sky? Or is this really what Putin wants them to believe, exactly the opposite, that Putin ordered his death?
It's as you can see, there was no any kind of special reaction from Kremlin, just condolences, and that's all. And in Russian mass media, this case is nearly forgotten now, nearly 100% forgotten.
But it's not forgotten for the Kremlin, is it? Because, I mean, they've given regional governors the authority now to establish paramilitary units, which could have a role not only in defending borders, but also attacks from insurgent, anti-Kremlin groups or internal dissent. It's just one of a number of restrictive steps from the Kremlin that appears aimed at preventing another incident like Prigozhin's Wagner uprising. Is the Kremlin afraid that a figure similar to Prigozhin might emerge?
I don't think so, because...
then why would it take those steps?
Yeah, okay. First of all, Prigozhin was effective. Wagner was effective. It was a real force, well-equipped force, with a real specialist. And what is more important, a lot of military, not openly, but by their minds, have been on the side of Prigozhin. So there was a link between Prigozhin and military. And this link is not existing anymore with any other paramilitary units, etc., etc. So the main problem that days was link between Prigozhin and part of the military, who are also unsatisfied how the military operation is going on. Now it's not existing, so it's not a big danger for Kremlin. But what they're creating these groups only in the border regions like Belgorod, etc. They're not creating them in Moscow, in Ural regions, no.
Let's talk a little bit more about Russia's role in the world, because it just rolled out the red carpet for a week-long visit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. It's thought that Kim either has already or could demand technology that could improve the range of his missiles for nuclear weapons or Russian satellite and submarine secrets. What does Putin want?
If to say very shortly, with Kim's visit, I know North Korea very good for many, many years. In face of Kim, he is receiving a very good, constant troublemaker to the West, mainly for United States, for Japan, which can be useful, very useful in Russian foreign policy. But generally, my evaluation is that for many, many years, Putin is basing his policy on the understanding that the world should follow his rules, but not vice versa.
What the world is concerned about, though, we have to bring it back to that, is that there might be an arms deal that comes out of this. Russia has gone out of its way to publicize Kim's visit, dropping repeated hints about the prospect of military cooperation with North Korea. For example, Russia's Defense Minister Shoigu told Russian media that Moscow is discussing joint military exercises with North Korea.
Yes.
Does Putin not have better cards to play right now than further cozying up with a global pariah state?
But in some areas, this is quite effective. Nuclear, first of all, North Korea is a nuclear state. They have nuclear weapons. Of course,
illegal nuclear weapons. It's an illegal program.
Yes, but I've been many times in North Korea, so I know it. Concerning military exercises, yes. I am sure that next year we'll have triangle military exercises, Russia, China, and North Korea. It's a new bloc, a new kind of alliance, which is now formed. Of course, it's first of all, it's not against Europe, but it's, as I said, it's a tool of pressure on Japan and the United States. It's obvious. It's obvious.
But Russia has previously supported international sanctions against North Korea for its unlawful nuclear weapons program. Do I hear you correctly? Are you saying that that does not mean anything to Russia anymore?
Yes, you are correct. Russia will forget about the sanctions.
Isn't this a dangerous game that Putin is playing?
It's a
you're
dangerous game.
You're talking about the destabilization of the nuclear balance in Asia and beyond.
Yes, there is a risk because Kim, the current leader, I knew his father, I knew his grandfather. Kim is, in certain way, he is unpredictable. But at the same time, now Russia has some tools to influence on him. Of course, there is a danger. There is a danger of the nuclear war on Korean Peninsula. So it's a reality. It's reality which was reality as well for last years as well. So I know it.
It's also thought that an arms deal between Russia and North Korea could backfire. South Korea has a big stockpile of more advanced weapons. It might be convinced to give them directly to Ukraine rather than just backfilling U.S. weapons being given to Kyiv. It hasn't given Kyiv arms so far out of fear that it could prompt Moscow to aid Pyongyang. Is that even any part of the calculus from Moscow?
Okay, arms from South Korea is already going to Ukraine via third countries. It's not a secret. Of course, tension will grow. Definitely tension will grow. And I know many people in South Korea who are now saying that South Korea should have its own nuclear weapons as a counterbalance. Yes, it's raising tension. It's raising tension. But it's a big game. It's a big game. As I said, it's a game which should be a little bit separated from Ukraine case. It's a big game in the Asia-Pacific region. And I said the main thing is Japan and United States.
What is Putin's end game? What is his end game, more broadly speaking, and also specifically in Ukraine? Because if we just look at the figures, I mean, the UN estimates that since the invasion began in February last year, nearly 30,000 civilians have been killed, thousands of Russian soldiers. What can he still hope to achieve?
He hopes to achieve military victory. And,
can he do it?
It depends what we can call the victory. First of all, with the current strategy, military victory is nearly impossible. To change the situation, Russia needs to change its strategy and to turn into total massive strikes all over Ukraine, destroying everything what is existing. But of course, this will lead immediately to the much more isolation of Russia and much more problems for Russian citizens, for economy, etc., etc. That's why there is still a hope in Moscow that Ukraine will not be capable to last long in this war. Russia, of course, has much more reserves. But from my personal point of view, we are now facing a very clear situation that the war will turn into a third year, definitely.
You know Putin for many years. Do you see anything that could bring him to the negotiating table? What could bring Russia to the negotiating table?
At this stage, absolutely not. Putin is the person who will never turn back. If he decided to do something, he will go till the end. For him, and it's position of many experts in Russia, negotiations is a defeat.
With what you just said in mind, there are many who are predicting that the Russian Federation will ultimately collapse because of Putin's war in Ukraine. You served as deputy foreign minister in the early 90s. You've witnessed firsthand the collapse of the Soviet Union. Do you share that view? Is Russia heading for collapse?
No, Russia is not heading for collapse. Russia is heading towards new problems, new troubles. But you should understand one thing. Part of the Russian nation is very much consolidated, because they see Putin as a person who saved Russia from possible NATO aggression, from attacks from Ukraine, etc., etc. And this is in the minds of people. And people, a lot of people, many people believe in Putin as a person who saved Russia from the aggressive West, from aggressive NATO, etc., etc. And this will work. This will work for coming elections, etc., etc.
We have to leave it there. We have to leave it there. Andrei Fyodorov, thank you so much for joining us on Conflict Zone. We appreciate your time.
Thanks. Thanks. I wish you well.
We spend lots of time online. We text, we comment, we share. It's a big part of our lives. But communicating with someone online is just like talking to them in real life. Everyone appreciates politeness, and no one likes it when people make fun, spread gossip, rumors, or lies. The fact is, some people do try to hurt others online. It's called cyberbullying, and it's a lose-lose situation. It makes the person being harassed feel bad, and it makes the bully look bad. It might lead to trouble with school authorities or even the police. If someone's harassing you online, it's important not to respond. That's because bullies are looking for a reaction. Block them if you can. Ignore them if you can't. If it continues, save the evidence and ask an adult for help. And don't be afraid to stand up for yourself or to stand up for someone else being cyberbullied. This behavior usually stops pretty quickly when someone speaks up. And when you're communicating online, remember to treat people the way you'd like to be treated. Know how to handle yourself, because being online is part of your life. So stop and think before you click.
The police called after midnight when they caught our son at a drinking party. It was a real wake-up call. A policeman suggested we try Al-Anon family groups. I didn't want to go to a meeting, but I'm glad I did. Are you troubled by someone else's drinking? You might be surprised at what you could learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
I'm proud to be a 911 telecommunicator because I can make a difference in the first few minutes of an emergency.
Because I can be a part of a team of professionals who are as dedicated to helping others as I am.
Because I was a friend to a total stranger today.
Because no matter what the problem, big or small, I'm a trained professional to answer your 911 call.
For information about what you need to know about 911 and kids, cell phones, seniors, and other 911 related topics, visit www.il911info.org.
Together, we can change the news. Find out how at safekids.org.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
It doesn't matter how long you've been around. Sometimes, you just gotta move. Let Elk Grove Village show you why you should move your business here.